Buenos días, muchachos y muchachas. ¿Cómo están? We have another video now to deal with Chapter 10, La Salud. Chapter 10 deals with health. The grammatical aspects of Chapter 10 are mandatos y subjuntivo, commands and the subjunctive. And the first thing we start with is the commands, los mandatos. And as you can see, this is on page 324 of your book. Now, it's important to remember when talking about commands, when you tell somebody what to do, you're talking to somebody. And in Spanish, you're either talking to somebody, one person, in a formal setting, usted, like you would talk to your teacher, or your doctor, or somebody in a business setting, or you're talking to a group of people, ustedes. This could be your friends, your family, a class, a bunch of people. What we don't have right now are informal commands, mandatos de tú. These are what you would use with one friend. We're going to learn those later. The kind that we're learning right now are mandatos formales, mandatos de usted y mandatos de ustedes. And the simple thing about mandatos is you use the subjunctive form. That means you go to the yo form and change an AR verb to put an E on the end, and an ER or an IR verb, you put an A on the end. So if the verb is cuidar, the yo form is cuido, and the subjunctive form is cuide. And with preocupar, it's an AR verb, so the verb is preocupe. Now, notice that these two verbs that I have here for you, cuidarse and preocuparse, have pronouns on the end. In this case, reflexive pronouns. When you have an affirmative command, you're telling somebody to do something. In this case, you're saying, take care of yourself. You stick the pronoun on the end of the command. So, take care of yourself is cuídese, cuídese. And if you're talking to a group of people and you're saying, hey, take care of yourselves, it's cuídense. If you're giving them a negative command, like preocuparse means to worry, and you tell somebody, don't worry, then the pronoun, the se in this case, but it could also be a me, or a le, or a los, or a las, and the pronoun comes in front of the verb. So don't worry is no se preocupe. And if you're talking to a group of people, it's no se preocupen. Here's an example. Antibióticos para un resfriado, no los tome. Don't take them. You don't need antibiotics for a cold. Don't take them. No los tome. Or if the person asks, should I take some aspirins when I have a headache? Tomo aspirinas? This is an affirmative command, so you stick the las on the end. Sí, tómelas. Tómelas. Take them. Now, not all commands need a pronoun at all. This last example has no pronoun. No me siento bien, ¿qué hago? I don't feel well, what do? No vaya a clase. Don't go to class. Guarde cama, stay in bed. Y duerma mucho, sleep a lot. Those are commands that don't need a pronoun. But if you do need one, it goes on the end of an affirmative command, and it goes in front of the verb on a negative command. Now, we're working with the subjunctive. In the last chapter, we learned about subjunctive with expressions of influence, where one person wants somebody else to do something. Now we're going to learn the subjunctive with emotion. Went too far. Expressions of emotion. And we have a list of them. And they are actually on page 327 in your book. And I'm having a hard time controlling the cursor here. Okay, on page 327 there's a list of expressions of emotions. Expressions like es bueno que or es malo que. It's good that, it's bad. Lamento que, I'm sorry that. Espero que, I hope that. Or ojalá, they both mean I hope. Me gusta que es una lástima, it's a pity. Me alegro, I'm glad. All these expressions are going to bring subjunctive in the second part as long as there's two subjects. For example, if you say, I'm glad, me alegro. I'm glad that my mom is here. So now you have one subject, me, I'm glad. And my mom is the second subject. I'm glad that she is here. So since this is one subject expressing emotion about a second subject, we need the subjunctive, esté. Me alegro de que mi mamá esté aquí. That's Two subjects with emotion, and you get subjunctive. We could take that same expression, I'm glad. If instead of saying, I'm glad my mom is here, you say, I'm glad to be here, well then there's just one person, just one subject, just me, I'm glad to be here. And so instead of using the subjunctive, you use the infinitive. Me alegro de estar aquí. Happy to be here. Me alegro de estar aquí. Alright. Another expression. It's good that. Es bueno. It's important to study. It's important to study the subjunctive. Es importante estudiar el subjuntivo. Or es bueno estudiar. It's good to study the subjunctive. Those are either influence or emotion with one subject. So we use the infinitive. Estudiar. Es bueno estudiar. It's good to study. But if I need two subjects, I want to say it's good that you study the subjunctive, or it's good that we study the subjunctive. And then I said to stick in the que and put the verb into the subjunctive. Es bueno que estudiemos el subjuntivo. O es importante que estudiemos el subjuntivo. It is good that we study two subjects plus the emotion equals the subjunctive. Now, one more example. The verb esperar means to hope. Now in English we might say, I hope I get an A. I hope I get an A in the test. And when you do that, you're repeating the subject I. I hope I get an A. But it's really only one subject. There's not a change of subject. So what Spanish will do is we'll use the infinitive again. They'll say, I hope to get an A. Espero sacar una A. Espero sacar una A en el examen. I hope to get an A on the test. Whereas, if we have two subjects, I hope you get an A, I hope he gets an A, I hope she gets an A, and the two subjects is I hope, you get, then you need the subjunctive. Espero que saques una A. I hope you get an A. Espero que saques una A. So that's pretty typical. That worked with the expressions of influence as well. You need two subjects. If there's only one, you use the infinitive. And finally, we have a third category of subjunctive, and it's called duda o negación. You'll find it in your book on page 337. Doubt or denial. A common expression is, I don't believe, no creo. These are expressions of doubt. No pienso, I don't think so. Es dudoso, or dudo que, I doubt. I'm not sure, no estoy seguro. All these are going to bring on the subjunctive, or these two that both mean maybe, or perhaps tal vez, quizás, they both mean maybe. And if you express doubt in the first part, and you've got two subjects, you're going to have subjunctive in the second part. No creo que mis amigos vengan. I don't think my friends are coming. If I don't think they're coming, I use subjunctive to indicate that uncertainty. Maybe they're coming. Tal vez vengan. And we get vengan from the verb venir. You go to the yo form, vengo, take the o off, and change it from an IR. It's an IR verb, so it gets an A on the end. Venga. Tal vez venga. Mis amigos tal vez vengan. Or here, I doubt you need an x-ray. Dudo que necesites. Since I doubt it, we need subjunctive. With quizás. Maybe you can come to the doctor's tomorrow. Quizás puedas. Maybe you can come. That puedas indicates uncertainty. And this is considered negation, denial. It's not true, or it's not certain that he speaks Italian. No es verdad que él hable. If he doesn't speak it, if I'm certain that he does not speak it, and I say no es verdad, it is not true, then I need to use subjunctive. Now, the opposite of that situation is also true. If I'm certain of something, if there's no doubt, or no uncertainty, no denial, then there's no subjunctive. See here? I think he's coming. Creo, I believe he's coming. Creo que viene. If I believe it, I can use the indicative to indicate that I believe that he's coming. I use normal indicative. Creo que viene. I think that you can go. Pienso que puedes ir. Regular indicative. If I believe it, I think it, I'm certain, or it's true, we just use regular indicative. Es verdad que él habla. It's true that he speaks Italian. Or up here, no es verdad que él hable. Es verdad que él habla. So, those are the three concepts then that we've learned in chapter 10. The mandatos, affirmative and negative, subjunctive with emotion, and subjunctive with doubt. Have fun, and we'll get back to you again soon.